Hey guys, good morning. Happy Friday. It's Daryl here. It's 4 a.m. bright and early here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, like as usual, there's a few different subjects I want to touch on first in my first video. And then usually by the second video around noon, I center it. It'll come down to one main issue. But this first video, I usually have about two, maybe three different issues that I want to talk to you guys about. And one of them is a personal situation that I'm in right now, trying to help my parents get vaccinated for the COVID-19 virus, and it's frustrating. I'll get to that in a second. The first thing I'd like to talk about is politically some of the things that I've noticed going on just in the last 2 days since Biden was inaugurated. Now, one thing I can credit Donald Trump with is lighting the fire inside me to get politically active, to learn more about politics, the Constitution, democracy, to learn about all this stuff. I voted since I was 18, but I'd say I had a pretty average political awareness. You know, I knew the basics: how many senators, reps, the three arms of government, executive, legislative, and judicial. Right, yeah. Anyway, and I owe it to Trump for lighting that fire, that anger in me to know more. I owe a big thanks to Beau, the fifth column, for his. It's almost been like I've been attending a university, a schoolroom, watching Beau's one or two videos every single day. I've learned so much. Okay, so there's two things that have happened in the last couple of days, and I want to discuss it with you guys. Now, I like being just flat out honest with you guys. I'm not going to pretend that I know more than I do, okay? Okay, so there's these two things. Iraq, the bombings in Baghdad, Iraq. I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about the AF, the protests that sparked up during Biden's inauguration in Portland. Those two things. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I got the handle on that. I know why that's happening. I know all that. I don't. I'm a little confused. All right, let's talk about the AF in Portland first. I have to say AF because a lot of times I'll miss out on advertising if I say the whole name. All right, the AF in Portland. I was kind of surprised to see the screw Biden and them demolishing the Democrat headquarters there in Portland and everything. Just the crazy anger, and Biden hasn't even done anything yet. In other words, I didn't know what exactly they were angry about, what they were protesting. It's not as if Biden enacted any legislation or anything, that would make them angry. They just seem to be pissed in general at the whole entire system. I kind of get it. I kind of get that they're progressives. They're looking for deep systemic change, and the old Democrat-Republican system isn't part of that. I get it, but I guess I was kind of shocked at the violence that, I really thought they'd see it as a step forward, a step in the right direction at least, after we saw Trump, tear gas and the rubber bullets in the park, in the square there, when he walked across with the Bible and all that. And then, moving on to Biden, I really thought, maybe the AF would take a day off and just be happy we're moving in the right direction, but I guess not. I was surprised. I was surprised by just the raw violence and anger. And to be honest with you guys, it makes me, I kind of had some empathy for the AF. I thought we were on the same page. Maybe we're not, because they're not protesting anything. It's just violence for the sake of violence. It's more of an anarchist thing. Just tear down the whole government. And at this point in time, where we're at, I can't go along with that. I can't. It's not. I think we came close to an abyss. We're in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, to me, it feels like we're right on the edge. And we took a step back, and we should just be happy with that and keep moving in that direction. It's not the time to start dancing on the edge and yelling and screaming. That's my opinion. Okay, you guys let me know. I understand maybe I'm missing something here on the whole progressive deep systemic change thing. Maybe I'm missing something, but the violence and just the anger with no particular subject in mind, just the fact that he got elected, just anger at Biden for the sake of anger, just I couldn't agree with it. All right, moving on to Iraq. Wow, this bombing, it was what they call a double tap bombing. One suicide bomber blew himself up, and then when people came in, a second one did. And it's just, I haven't seen the pictures, but I've read horrific descriptions of what this occurrence did to the people in that area. So as soon as I saw this, I said, oh man, this is, right on Biden's first day. All of a sudden, we haven't heard from ISIS in years, and this is gonna go. This is gonna puff up the whole the whole supporter thing over there. That we wiped out ISIS, and now all of a sudden they're back, and look, it's all Biden's fault. Blah blah blah. And to be honest, that's what I thought. So I read more into it. I didn't see anything in I read about 7 different articles, and I didn't see anything linking it to Biden at all. I did not know that elections are coming up in Baghdad, in Iraq. They're supposed to be in June. I think they've been moved to October, and there's a lot of political tension. I didn't know either that oil prices have gone down considerably in the area, creating an economic instability. So there's a couple things playing there. Still, though, I think it's only a matter of time before Republicans, especially Republicans and former Trump supporters, whatever, start using it as some situation. It creates a fresh set of issues that we really don't need right now. That's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think. I was kind of shocked and dismayed to see this double tap bombing on the day after the day of Biden's inauguration in Iraq. I'm going to say that I don't think there was any Americans that were killed in the bombing, but that doesn't, I have a hard time celebrating that. There's still 32 human beings, regardless of what nationality they were. They were torn to pieces. Just because they weren't Americans doesn't make it all that easier to turn away from. All right, on to the last thing. The COVID-19 virus vaccination, man. It is not easy to get this. I see on TV, I see Dr. Fauci. I love this man. I love Dr. Fauci saying it's like a breath of fresh air that he can come on and he can actually talk about science and his true opinion or science fact, without worrying about Trump and that whole thing. It's so good to see. I mean, it sucks that we're in the middle of this deep, dark pandemic, but it's so good to see that Biden is just telling us the flat out truth. That we're in the hard time right now, and all the facts that we might have to change the vaccine as the virus mutates. And all the scientific knowledge, instead of just saying, oh, it's going to go away. Before you know it, it's going to be gone. It's nothing. It's like the flu. Don't worry about it. Looking back now, we see how all Trump supporters believed every word out of his mouth, and that affected how half the country worked with and faced this virus. They didn't pay it enough due. They didn't pay it enough mind. They poo-pooed it. And we can see now how the way that he handled this, the way that Donald Trump handled this, definitely inflamed the whole situation. Half the country didn't take it seriously. Half the country didn't even think it was real. And I think as time goes on, we're going to see how that just it made it twice as bad as it had to be. Just like him saying about this nonsense about the election being rigged, and they took that to heart, and look where that led. I think in the months and years coming, we're going to see. It's going to be, in retrospect, it's going to become so much more obvious what Trump did and how it affected half the country and how it affected America as a whole. In retrospect, you know what I mean? It becomes much more obvious. So anyway, the COVID-19 vaccine, we had a vaccination at a airport, at Sikorsky Airport, where there was like miles of cars lined up, and that worked great. But we're having a hard time getting, there's a problem with a lot of the states aren't getting the vaccine in time. This whole warp speed is a dismal failure. That's my opinion. I'm having a hard time. I have to go to one website. It's called VAMS, V-A-M-S. I don't even know what that stands for. I have to get authorization codes from them. Then I have to go set up emails because no, my parents do not have email addresses yet. And I know that's not the government's fault. But I have to go do that, and then I have to wait for authorization to come from VAMS to the code to their emails, and then I have to set them up with an appointment at my local Walgreens, because that's where this vaccine is probably going to take, where they're going to have it. It'd be so much easier if they had just local vaccination tents or you know what I mean, like just local vaccination centers set up. I thought that's what Trump was talking about. Having like the National Guard roll this stuff out in locations where communities would just go and get vaccinated. They show their ID, their age, bam, you get vaccinated. Or at least have it go to their physicians. Physicians looks over their list of patients and calls those that are due. But it is nothing like that. It's jumping through one hoop after the next. So I'll let you know how that's going. I see I've run over on time. I'm going to be back later with another video. I'll be back in a couple hours with another video. Let me know what you guys think and what you want to talk about, and I'll see you guys in a few hours. Have a good Friday.